It's 2:17 a.m., and you're staring at a glowing laptop screen while your phone vibrates for the third time in 5 minutes. The company's servers just crashed. Users are complaining on social media. Investors are messaging the CEO, and your manager just posted a single message in Slack. We need this fixed now. You haven't slept. Half the engineering team is online. The other half is still at the office. But this isn't unusual, because in the world of Silicon Valley startups, moments like this happen every day. Most people think startups are about innovation, hoodies, and billion-dollar ideas. But behind the scenes, there's an entire hierarchy controlling how this system actually works. And the people with the most power are almost never the ones writing the code. To understand why this job exists, you first have to understand the system around it. The world of tech startups is worth trillions of dollars. Every year, thousands of companies launch in Silicon Valley, hoping to become the next Google, Uber, or Airbnb. Investors pour billions into ideas that sometimes exist only as a pitch deck. And every day, thousands of workers compete to join these companies. Because when a startup succeeds, the rewards can be enormous. Early employees sometimes become millionaires overnight. Founders become billionaires, and entire industries can change. But what most outsiders don't realize is that this entire ecosystem runs on an invisible structure, a hierarchy, a power structure that determines who makes decisions, who takes the risks, and who actually benefits when everything works. And where you sit inside that hierarchy determines everything: your salary, your influence, and how close you are to the real power. You didn't always work in this world. A few years ago, you were just another engineer, or maybe a designer. Maybe you were working at a normal company. 9 to 5 hours, predictable paychecks. But then something changed. A friend sent you a message. A recruiter reached out on LinkedIn. Or maybe you saw a job posting from a company that promised something different. A chance to build something new, something big. The salary looked decent, but the real incentive was something else. Equity, stock options, a tiny slice of ownership in a company that might one day be worth billions. The opportunity felt exciting, risky, but exciting. And before long, you realized something. This wasn't just another job. It was an entire ecosystem. An ecosystem powered by ambition, money, and competition. And without realizing it, you had just entered the bottom of the startup hierarchy. At the very bottom of the startup hierarchy are the people doing most of the actual work: junior engineers, customer support teams, marketing coordinators, sales development representatives, product interns. These are the people outsiders often imagine when they think of startup culture. Young employees working long hours, sleeping on couches, drinking free office coffee at midnight, trying to ship new features as quickly as possible. They're the ones fixing bugs, answering angry customer emails, writing code under impossible deadlines. Because in startups, speed is everything. The faster a company grows, the more investors believe in it. And the more investors believe in it, the more money it raises. So pressure flows downward. Managers push teams, teams push workers, and workers push themselves. Because everyone at the bottom knows something. In this world, the hierarchy moves fast. People get promoted quickly, but they also get replaced quickly. And the difference between climbing the ladder or falling out of the company entirely can come down to a single bad quarter. Above the entry-level workers sits the next layer of the hierarchy: the managers, the product leads, the senior engineers. These are the people who turn chaos into direction. They coordinate teams, plan product launches, set development priorities, and enforce the decisions made by the leadership team. From the outside, this level of the company can look powerful. They run meetings, approve projects, assign responsibilities. But inside the system, they know something important. They are still executing someone else's vision. The real strategic decisions come from higher up, and the pressure they feel is different. Because middle management lives in a dangerous position. They are responsible for results, but they don't control the company. If growth slows, if investors become nervous, if a product fails, these are often the people who take the blame. And in the startup world, job security can disappear overnight. Now we reach the level most outsiders think runs the industry. The founders, the executives, the C-suite, CEO, CTO, COO. These are the public faces of the company. They appear in interviews, speak at conferences, announce funding rounds, and tell the world how their company will change the future. Inside the company, they control the direction of everything: product strategy, hiring, partnerships, growth plans. Every major decision eventually reaches their desk. And from the outside, it looks like they hold all the power. Founders become celebrities. Their companies dominate headlines, and their ideas shape entire industries. But inside the startup ecosystem, everyone knows something else. Even founders answer to someone. Working inside a startup is nothing like most people imagine. The glamour disappears quickly, because the reality is constant pressure. Deadlines move faster than expected. Funding runs out sooner than planned. And competition never stops. Every week, another startup launches with a similar idea. Another competitor raises millions of dollars. Another product threatens to disrupt everything. Inside the company, the environment can feel intense. Slack messages late at night, emergency meetings, last-minute product changes, and constant discussions about growth. Because in this world, growth is survival. If a startup grows fast enough, investors stay confident. If growth slows, funding disappears. And when funding disappears, companies collapse. Which means every employee understands one thing: power flows upward, and everyone below is replaceable. But the biggest danger inside the startup world isn't the workload. It's the uncertainty. Most startups fail. Not slowly, but suddenly. Funding runs out. A product doesn't find customers, or a competitor launches something better. Entire companies can disappear in months. Employees who thought they were building the next big thing suddenly find themselves unemployed. Equity becomes worthless. Careers reset overnight. Even successful startups carry enormous risk. Reputations can collapse if a company is exposed for bad practices. Executives can face lawsuits. Products can trigger regulatory investigations. And in Silicon Valley, the tech community is small. Word travels quickly, which means a single failed company can follow someone for years. So everyone inside the system learns to operate under constant pressure. Because failure doesn't just mean losing your job, it means falling down the hierarchy. But the most powerful level of the startup ecosystem is rarely visible, and it doesn't sit inside the company. At the very top of the hierarchy are the venture capitalists, the investors, the people who control the money. These firms fund the companies. They decide which ideas get billions in funding, and which ideas disappear before they even begin. And because they control the capital, they control the system. Venture capital firms often sit on company boards. They influence major decisions, push companies toward rapid growth, encourage risky strategies, and sometimes replace founders entirely. Inside Silicon Valley, these firms operate like kingmakers. They don't build the products, they don't manage the teams, and they don't deal with the daily chaos inside the company. But they decide who gets to play the game, which founders become billionaires, and which startups never survive long enough to try. And as long as the world keeps demanding new technology, this system will keep growing. New startups will launch every day. New workers will enter at the bottom. New managers will climb through the middle. And new founders will compete to build the next billion-dollar company. But the hierarchy itself rarely changes, because the structure benefits the people who built it. Investors fund companies. Companies hire workers. Workers build products. Products generate growth. Growth generates more investment. And the cycle continues, over and over again. Each new generation chasing the same dream. The next big startup. The next breakthrough idea. The next billion-dollar exit. Most people only ever see the surface of Silicon Valley. The success stories, the billionaires, the headlines about innovation. But behind it all is an invisible structure quietly deciding who rises and who disappears. A hierarchy built on ambition, risk, and capital. Because in the startup world, success isn't just about talent. It's about timing, access, and where you stand in the hierarchy. Some people spend their entire careers trying to climb it. Others fall out long before they reach the top. And a very small group never had to climb it at all, because they built the system everyone else is competing inside. And now I'm curious, if you had the chance to enter the startup world, would you try to climb the hierarchy or stay far away from it? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more hidden power structures like this, subscribe to Hidden Hierarchies, because the most powerful systems in the world are usually the ones nobody explains.